Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to go over how to analyze the scope of work. A lot of times when we perform our cleaning for our clients, we actually don't pay attention to our scopes of work. So it'll a lot of times we end up not fulfilling the scope of work, or we end up going above and beyond the scope of work. And so when I receive a offer of a contract, the first two things I always ask for is the scope of work, and then I always ask for the man hours that it'll take to perform the scope of work. Um, and that'll allow me to see how much work that I'll have to do in the facility, and then it'll also give me a gauge of if the contract is good, a good fit for our company. So when we're analyzing the scope of work, for one, we want to always pay attention to our nightly duties. So everything that we're doing every night, we want to make sure that we're hitting that. We want to make sure that we're emptying the trash, cleaning the glass, vacuuming the areas, and also paying attention to those horizontal surfaces like ledges, bookcases, file cabinets, things of that nature. Um, Window sills. Window sills will be always going to be one of your horizontal ledges that we always look over. So we want to be mindful of that. So basically, we look at our scope of work. We know we have to restock materials. We know we have to clean the break room and the bathrooms. We know we have to empty the trash and vacuum. Those are basically the general nightly duties that you'll have to do in most facilities. Then on the weekly, we want to make sure that we are actually doing the vertical dusting and the horizontal dusting once a week. That way we can stay up on top of dusting. A lot of places don't build up on dust uh, uh, as often. They may, if you dust it once a week, you could be able to see or gauge how often you may need to dust. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to that dusting. Cubicles, always on top of cubicles. And then a lot of times people don't pay attention to the bottom of the cubicle. So all the way around the edge on the bottom of the cubicle, we want to make sure that we're dusting that. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to the cobwebs every week. Those are the biggest things. When people see cobwebs, they're going to complain. So we want to make sure that every week we're going in and we're dusting those cobwebs. Also, we want to make sure every week we're going in and we're dusting the ventilation fans because they build up dust. So we want to make sure that we're looking up to get those ventilation fans in the most of the time in the break rooms and in the bathrooms. We want to make sure that we're hitting those. We want to make sure that we every week we're cleaning out the microwaves. Make sure that we're touching up on baseboards if baseboards are in your scope of work. We normally do that once a week. And then on um, monthly cleans, we normally do pretty much like the blinds. If they have blinds that they want to get dusted, we'll normally do that once a week. Once a month. I'm sorry, once a month. So when we're looking at and identifying our scope of work, we want to make sure that we're doing everything on the scope of work. Here's why. A lot of times we can cut down on the complaints if we're actually performing the scope of work to the T. Now, you don't want to run into the instance to where you're going above and beyond your scope of work, because here's why. When you're going above and beyond your scope of work and you know that you're going above and beyond your scope of work, then the client's going to expect that. So when you come in and you say, well, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to keep going above and beyond. Well, the client's going to start complaining because you were going above and beyond your scope of work. You were doing things that the scope of work said not to do or didn't have in the scope of work. So now when you stop doing it, the client's going to expect it and they're going to say, hey, what's going on? You're not doing this. And you go back and tell them, hey, that's not in our scope of work. I was going above and beyond. They're going to be like, no, because you were doing it when you first started. So you need to continue to do it. So now you've added more work on your scope of work. Only do what you're paid to do. Only do what you're paid to do and let your client add things to the scope of work so you can increase the man hours, so you can increase the money that it's gonna take to fulfill that additional work. I'll give you a story. We had a guy that was one of our top cleaners in Jan Pro, and he was going above and beyond. I mean, he was going above and beyond. He had about 20 clients, and he took care of those clients, every one of them, like they were gold, and he went above and beyond the scope. A lot of things that wasn't even on the scope he was doing, like bringing in personal air fresheners and plugging them in, plug-ins and stuff like that, of that nature. It wasn't on the scope of work, but he ended up taking ill, and he almost died. So he could not continue to be a franchise owner. He could not continue to be a franchise owner. So they had to sell off all 20 of his accounts. And guess what happened? When the new Jan Pro franchisees came in to perform those scopes of work, they were doing the scope of work. And all the clients complained because they wasn't doing above and beyond what they were used to. They were used to a certain type of clean. And these franchise owners were really like, man, I don't know why we're getting bad reviews. We're doing everything on the scope of work. Even the operations specialist was saying we were doing the things on the scope of work, but it was because that one individual that had those clients before you was going above and beyond the scope of work. So that being said, please stick to your scope of work. Please don't go above and beyond. Do what's in your scope of work and allow your client to come in and add additional things that they may want. That way you can get compensated for it. And that way, if you ever lose that contract, that new client that's coming in, or that new franchise owner that's coming in to take over that contract, won't get cheated out of extra duties. They'll get compensated for it. So, hey, I just wanted to stop in and give you guys a bit of advice on scope of work. Hey, man, reach out to me if you have any questions or if you have any comments. Leave your comments in the comment section below. And if you want to jump on a Zoom call, please leave your email in the comments below, and a great day and a time that I can reach out to you on Zoom. A lot of you guys are requesting Zoom meetings, but there's no way for me to get in contact with you guys. So please leave your contact information in the comments below. Until then, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Stay blessed.